We'll see. I hope so. What's that?
But you know, you came in.
Are they there? Nobody. Okay, sure wasn't Point fingers. Trying to put my finger at you
Doesn't bother me anymore.
because you used to hear very young I saw that. Here.
Ms. Callowhill?
Here.
Ms. Lasso?
Here. An executive session was held today prior to this meeting. For the record,
So, not personnel and negotiation matters.
another note for the record is the executive session was held on December 8th regarding personnel matters. We have 2 minutes we'd like to approve. One for December the 9th of 2024 and December 16th of 2024. I'd like to make a motion, have someone make a motion. Okay, someone can second and vote like a Scotty. Second, Brian. Okay, discussion on these?
I have some changes that I thought might be able to be made. I do want to also thank Ruthie for her awesome work on getting these done. December 9th, page 2 at the very top. Mayor Miller mentioned having a really good amount of people at the tree lighting. I would say we move on and just have the tree lighting last evening. And then go down to police report. And in the paragraph it says, yes, court question. And it would be the third sentence in there. At the end of that sentence, it says, but upon a possibility of the fraud. I don't know. I was just saying, maybe change it to that, the fraud, but that's me. It kind of sounds strange. Do you see what I'm talking about? But a possibility that the fraud, it could be out or and page 4, and the second sentence from the top, more information will, and then I'd be provided. And then page 5, under streets, the third sentence, has been declared. I guess you can either let that in there or remove it. Has been declared that council can hire or declare council can hire. You can have it either way. I don't know how council can hire. You see where I'm talking?
It's your choice.
So,
What do you want here?
that it has that in there. I mean, it can be either, it can say has been declared that council, or you could remove that and say has been declared council can hire. So it depends on how council wants it worded. And
Take out that.
take out that. And then on 16, December 16th. Sorry, Bertie.
I'm still on December 9th.
Oh, okay, it was not.
Sorry, I think the motion was just on the December 9th minutes, so
That was
it's
just-
just the comments
okay.
on December 16th until we have a motion second.
Sorry.
On the front page, take my name out. Since Mr. Art voted for the record, and put in Mr. Haney.
Where was that?
Third paragraph.
Is there any other comments on this? These minutes? All in favor of approving these? Aye? Aye. Now someone will make a motion motion to open up the floor to discuss the minutes of December 16th, 2024.
The motion to approve those minutes and things you made.
I bet we did for minutes of December 16th, 2024. And I'll second that.
Kathy, did you have something you wanted to mention on these?
Yeah, on page 3, the first sentence from the top, you want to tax before the state, which is simply pay with the real estate tax, is that tax there? And,
Where was that?
the fourth sentence from the top,
The
on
second
page
page?
3.
Oh, page 3.
Page 3. You want to tax behind the state, the first sentence. On page 4, second sentence from the top, we have Amy, possibly I'll explain there. And then the last sentence, change it from Miss Amy to Mr. Amy. On page 4, the very last sentence. Change it to Mr. Amy. It's all I have.
Any other comments from council on the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approval of these minutes? That's correct. That's correct, yeah. Motion carries. Also, regarding any outstanding minutes that there are from this point forward, I talked to Joan about adding some language to the minutes that won't need to be approved for this past year.
Right, there's gonna be many new members, I believe 5 new members of council, only 2 who are currently serving. So what I suggested is a notation on the minutes that the approval is ministerial only, so that there would be a record of the meeting and that the majority of council was not present for those meetings. It's the only way that you'll have approved minutes. It's a matter of necessity.
To approve the content, they won't be
Right.
present to approve the
Right.
content.
And the notation's important in the event that those minutes ever need to be used in a hearing or in court or the proceeding, that it be understood that there could be questions as to accuracy.
And regarding communications, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Mary Ellen Monahan and send our sincere condolences to her family. Mary Ellen served on the Borough Planning Commission and also the Vacancy Board Chair and acting as a Quality of Life Appeals Officer. Former council member, a retired Brandywine Heights Area School District teacher, advisor, and coach. The mayor's report.
Last time we kicked off the holiday season with the tree lighting, there was a couple of church groups here with hot chocolate and cookies. And of course, Mr. and Mrs. Call has made an appearance, so it was well attended. Nice weather for it, so happy holiday season to everybody.
Deal, police report, please.
Sure. For November, for Topton Borough, 25 incidents, 4 traffic citations issued, 10 vehicle stops, 1 reportable crime. And that was it for follow-up and 4 times allowance. And I think we had any significant, November 4th, responded to a domestic and possible stabbing. We arrived and found the males that was possibly stabbed, fled the scene, and then ultimately refused to cooperate with the police. Further investigation showed that the stabbing likely did not occur. No other injuries reported, no charges filed. And citation breakdown, 2 for speeding, 1 for suspended registration, and 1 for no insurance. And under personnel, we received a total of 4 applications for full-time. The testing is scheduled for December 14th. And the renovation of our patrol room has been. That's all I have.
Was the reportable crime
Yes.
stabbing?
Turned out it was not a stabbing, but it still would have fell under harassment, so it's on that.
And Chief O'Shafer, it has been a pleasure working with Mrs. Sweet over the course of the years that you served in our community, so we thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank you for your service to Topton. And Officer Butler, thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna miss it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Probably less parking tickets. Yeah.
Okay, we'd like to open the floor to hearing of visitors. So this would be for anyone who's a Topton resident who has any comments to make regarding topics on the agenda. Yes, if you could please stand.
Was there an executive session after the Saturday, November 29th?
No, there wasn't a quorum present, so it would not qualify as an executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no other comments? Solicitor's report.
Okay, Teamsters Local 773 status, negotiations are ongoing, so that there were executive sessions on this. The intermunicipal agreement for Luther Meadows and Howman House, engineer and I are working on that. I have a call in from Long Swamp solicitor. I'll have more report on that next month. You all have the draft that I've received no comments from any members of council on the proposed agreements. Conditional use appeal decision, Topton Investments LLC, 41 West Y Street. That was the proposed smoke shop where there was a denial of conditional use approval that was appealed by the applicant. There has been, the borough lodged the record with the court as is required by the municipality's planning code when there's an appeal. There's been no action by the applicant, Topton Investments LLC, to move the matter forward. I expect that in the new year, probably there will be. There's also not been a briefing schedule or pre-trial, pre-hearing conference or any other type of conference scheduled by the court. So again, I expect some movement on that next year. It's the applicant's burden to move these matters forward. And the last item under my report is the proposed amendment for the tax collector fees. I reviewed the amendment, and as simply a gratification and confirmation of current practice, that's fine. However, if it is an increase in any of the tax collector fees, which I understand now that it is, Section 36 of the local tax collection law only permits a change in tax collector compensation by ordinance or resolution passed or adopted by February 15th of the year. Let me just give the exact. Of the year of the municipal election. So that would have been last February 15th, 2025. 2025 is the municipal election. So this can be adopted for the next term. It's because of the statute and also because of the state constitution, which has an emoluments of office clause, very similar to the U.S. Constitution, where a public official's compensation cannot be increased or decreased during their term. So this would be appropriate for the tax collector's next term.
GIs shall conform the current tax collector.
Okay, yeah.
So this is something that the next council should address?
Yes, the next council should
Okay, so
address
this
this.
will not be something we're going to vote on.
Right. And that's all I have, these council have any questions?
Okay, managers report. You're ready, Stacy.
The 2026 proposed budget was placed on display at Borough Hall. We completed all of our insurance renewals and applications for 2026 insurance and received quotes back in time for the current meeting's budget for council's review. I met with Evertrue, Topton Home, electronically by Zoom, to introduce myself as well as our staff for water sewer purposes and establish communications officially, them being a large user of our sewer services and potential user of our water services. I attended the PA Municipal League's HR training class per council. I submitted the required report for health insurance as we are a self-insured employer. The 2024 DEP Recycling Performance Grant was submitted. We will wait for an award around this time next year. We continue to work with G-Works on our accounting, payroll, and utility billing software. Hopefully that will go live at the end of this year or the very beginning of next year. UGI's project, we've been working together with the contractor, Barry Isid, and our staff, and trying to get through some hiccups and difficult times with that traffic light, so we appreciate the community's patience with them completing the work. PADCNR grant closeout is being performed by Barry Isid and Associates for the Oak Alley project. We held our health coverage open enrollment in December, and we have been working with PennDOT Municipal Services Rep for the liquid fuels funding to report anything and everything that is needed for the street paving that occurred in 2025. Any questions on my report?
You addressed that before, UGI.
G-Works is our software company that's been trying to get up to speed with the chart of accounts for Pennsylvania, which led to their great delay in giving us our new software. So
When did we pay for that new software?
well, we we paid for the onboarding 2024,
2024,
the beginning of.
and they still are not giving you what you need.
Because they were not familiar with the PA chart of accounts. Well, actually, they were bought out. So we went with Freedom and signed a contract with Freedom at the end of 2023. That would have started in 2024. They were purchased by G-Works.
There's not ongoing billing for this, is there?
Yearly, once we're onboarded, then we have paid for the onboarding and pay the monthly fees. We're not billed for monthly fees, we've been reimbursed for any monthly fees that they have charged us. They realize because of their delays that it's not fair to charge us for that. Because we're not active with any of the software, with any of it.
They should be paying us interest on the onboarding.
It's been a mess for 2 years.
Sure has.
More than
And
2
this
years.
is a tool you need, and paid a fortune for. Guess we don't have a recourse, do we?
If they're not performing up to their contract, I mean, there's potentially recourse. I mean, we can certainly ask for some refund. I'd like to see the contract though as to what it says.
I can get that to you.
Yeah, no, it was the contract.
The next item I have under my section of the agenda is to request authorization to advertise the 2026 meetings of Borough Council, the Planning Commission, and Municipal Authority.
Someone want to make a motion?
And that's all for our city manager to advertise?
Correct.
I'll second.
Any discussion? That's good. All in favor?
The next item I have is the list of holidays for 2026 that would be observed as paid holidays that the office is closed. And the next item is the budget for 2026. Some changes were necessary from the proposed budget that was placed on display, one of which I already alluded to, which was our insurance. We got the quotes, so what was in the proposed were estimated, whether it's liability insurance, whatever. So those have been refined with our workers' compensation rising 25% overall. Another change was under the street overlay project, under general fund. A line item was added of $10,000 to rent a roller, which is a shared cost by anyone who participates in the co-op and gets streets paved. We did not have that cost last year, nor any time before that, because we didn't pave streets with the co-op. This is our first year not knowing that it's a large expense until they purchase a used or new roller. We paid this year approximately $6,800 for our portion of the bills for the roller. So I budgeted $10,000, just in case the price goes up at the time it's needed, this likely next year. Did council have any other questions on any of the other changes to any of the funds as presented to you?
I just asked about the roller.
Sure.
This is something they are financing over multiple years.
No, this is something they rent. So they're looking for a good used one, which usually they're junk, and they're keeping their eyes open. They're expensive if they're new. So they look at municipal and other available bidding kind of sites for municipal equipment like that. Not buying it, renting it. For purchasing it, because we paid $6,800 times 4 is what it costs for a whole summer of renting. So that's a lot of money.
Thank you.
You don't need to approve the holidays.
No, it's for,
That's just information.
yeah, because it's already contained in the handbook. It's for your information and the public's information.
So regarding the budget, we want to make a motion to approve the budget as revised tonight for 2026. There'll be one motion.
Can I heard the budget and don't be getting before we go forward. I don't know if you want to wait till the end to approve the budget or.
We'll discuss, we can discuss it. Let's get a second motion to approve the 2026 budget as revised by Stacy.
You can second it if you want to discuss it, and then, second doesn't mean you necessarily have to approve it. There's more discussion, as you seconded.
I don't think it's right. I'll second.
Let's have some discussion on it.
If I could ask their area ISIC representative,
Yes.
I've mentioned this several times,
Yep.
and I'm hoping it was adjusted in the budget. Our agreement with Longswamp was Topton would pay 100% to try to determine suitability of the site that we were looking at, suitability only. And then if it was deemed deemed worthy of starting drilling suitable, then Long Swamp would go in on payments. So what we are being shown as our expense for going forward with the well was Long Swamp contacted and has something worked out, or we subtracting out the portion they're gonna pay?
So, as far as I understand it, as far as I'm aware, there's no written agreement with Long Swamp. So, if we have that, then we can include that number. What I have here is the total cost of the project. The borough is free to pursue whatever financing options, would work best for the borough. This is just us advising you of how much the cost would be.
If we are at 100%.
Whoever pays for it. And I will also add that we are still looking through the feasibility studies. So we're still waiting on DEP to tell us, yes, we can.
So once they say yes, you can drill.
Then we would progress to the next step that you're discussing, and maybe conversations with Long Swamp would need to happen at that point. But we are not quite there yet. But I will absolutely let everybody know, and the borough can decide what they'd like to pursue next.
So I think the budget's gonna need to be changed because of that, and so if nothing's been done, if anything's been done in Long Swamp regarding this.
That usually occurs between solicitors. And Joan has not been directed to communicate with Long Swamp Township solicitor as of yet.
Not on that, on other matters, but on that.
So we had a conversation, probably 2 years ago, we met with Long Swamp, and we had stated that once we got through the feasibility to see if in fact we could use that site for the well we need for our backup well. At that time, once we figured all the costs, we would, then we had letters of understanding that you
We would then negotiate, right, the feasibility study was done under a memorandum of understanding, which had been negotiated with Long Swamp Township. Once that was negotiated and signed, then the feasibility study began, and the MOU was clear that this was only for the feasibility portion, and that if the well at that site was, or other site in Long Swamp was going to be feasible, then we would enter into another agreement for cost sharing.
that should not affect,
Well, the current costs that we're saying for next year in the budget are not correct because they're going to pay for it.
well, no, this is just for feasibility, correct? These costs that are in the budget.
No, so if we look at the report, what I have highlighted is what is currently in progress. So we're currently on task 3, compiling the well construction specifications while working towards DEP approval to drill the test wells. Tasks 4 through 8 are tasks that will need to be completed for the project to be fully done. So it's all the way to the end of construction. Very stage.
Okay.
So what did you put in the budget for 2026 as far as expenses for this fall?
$130,000.
And that was to cover
Engineering and any next steps that would be possible over the course of 2026.
I guess I'm wondering where you got that $130,000. I'm not seeing it. Could you point to us?
I thought it got us through task 7, but not to the construction stage.
And I'll need to discuss further with our grants department, but my hope is that we can pursue a grant to help the borough with the construction phase. Once we have the feasibility complete, we'll have a much stronger grant application once we have our ducks in a row at that point.
That's nice. I don't want to balance your checkbook with hopes.
But we don't balance our checkbooks with hopes, but we do everything we can to make sure we give you guys the best shot.
Or we have to balance the checkbook.
So the only portion of what he has listed there is what those first tasks, like.
Right, it doesn't go through,
He's just
yeah, it's
going
like,
down the line in anticipation, so.
right, it might just get us through task 6.
So the costs are what they are,
Yeah.
to that point, that she has in her budget. Count.
And
Nothing's gonna change that.
And we only obligate ourselves with the services of Barry, I said, task by task, not all the way down through. We don't we do one task at a time, obligate, pay, and then go to the next task.
Okay, which task have you paid so far?
1 and 2, and 3 is currently already.
Since it's 1 3, we obviously paid 1 and 2 so far.
So, under future tasks, I don't see any dollar amount.
Yes, that's the schedule section. Further up towards the top, we have task 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a little confusing because it's split by the page group. Task 1 is actually on the first page.
I'm just curious, the 130,000, how close that's going to be to what, considering.
It could have been an older number that's, less refined than Josh's estimates for tasks 4 through 8.
I just think we need better numbers before lock things in for next year.
Well, those numbers are gonna be for future years. We aren't gonna take it as far as we have. So our
For
budget is balanced.
2026, for
Yes.
2026 is what I'm talking about, next year's budget.
Yes, we're balanced for that. We have enough money to get,
The question is, are we balanced because I don't think we have firm numbers for this particular project. So if it should be higher, if it should be lower, then something else needs to be adjusted to remain balanced.
The money that's in the budget, the well's not gonna be ready to be done next year, 2026. It probably won't be ready to be drilled till 2027. So the money that's in the budget right now suffices to what
Will
will
take
be
us as far
done
as
in
we can go.
2026.
Well, future test, test for well drilling is for this winter, 2025, according to the schedule. Come test this winter.
we're only gonna go as far as the money we have,
Exactly.
basically.
Won't go any farther.
And hopefully some grants will come through and if you take it as it comes, which projects like this last multiple years.
Do we have several things for the winter and test the winter, it's all to be determined.
So what you're saying is you believe this is the best estimate for what will happen this year? And that's within the budget, is that correct, Josh?
What the borough has agreed is up to task 3. Everything beyond that will be discussed. If we get to the point where we're at task and the borough does not have funding, we can put them on hold until funding is applied. But this is a big project, but it's critical to the borough's infrastructure and water supply. That's why we broke it up into small pieces. We're gonna make the progress we can while we can, and just take it one bit at a time. So it does take quite a bit of time to work through DEP to drill any well. So we're working through that now. Currently, we're looking at drilling those test wells in the winter, but that's gonna be a discussion here with Borough Council before we proceed with that.
Are there any other budget questions from anyone on council?
Are we considering a very inexpensive, trivial, $250 for no-nonsense metering, so we can help keep down any spread of rabies from the colonies that are in town?
That would be up to council. It was not
I don't know.
requested to be included.
I don't know how we can talk, we don't have that kind of money. I mean, how can we say $250 for NNN when you're saying we don't have money?
Colonies of health are a great way to spread awareness. What's it gonna cost the borough, and the borough had a $250 potential solution, and so now we're not spending $250, and a kid is being treated in belly shots for rabies.
They don't do belly shots anymore.
At any point, could the borough enter into a contract if they had a donation or dollars?
Yes.
Yep, they're open to that.
You don't have to do it right away.
We didn't last year with ARL. We started
Oh,
in
okay.
February.
Right, and sometimes for smaller amounts of money, items can be moved around in the budget when they're small numbers.
Is that managerial discretion or
Council
council? Council would have to vote.
Council would make decisions back then.
Are there any other questions or discussions regarding the budget? And Stacy, you're comfortable with the budget as it is as far as financially, but good to go with moving to balance?
Yes, the major source of revenue that changed our budget was the Oak Alley reimbursement that we expected this year. Not gonna get it until next year, so that was a nice source. We've already spent our money, and hopefully we'll get what we received a grant for, and that made us more comfortable and actually it allowed some reserves as council was hoping.
Okay, then, all in favor of approving the 2026 budget with the revisions that we discussed with Stacy prior to the meeting and changes that she made? All in favor? Aye. Is that unanimous? Opposed? Opposed.
So one opposed.
One opposed.
At their last meeting, the municipal authority adopted a resolution which increased, there was a typo on this item under this section of the agenda. It should include residential, industrial, and commercial. Municipal authority adopted a resolution that raised residential, commercial, and industrial by 5% only on usage over the minimum of 4,000 gallons, but did it across the board evenly at 5% for water, 5% for sewer overage over 4,000. I presented that to council in consideration of what their thoughts and wishes were.
We have a motion to approve the resolution for the increase.
Well, that would be, it would actually be it would be an ordinance, to increase the residential, industrial, and commercial sewer rates in accordance with the authority resolution, so you'd be approving it for advertisement on December 22nd.
For advertisement immediately for adoption on December 22nd.
Yes.
We need a motion for that?
You need a motion.
Do we have a motion? Okay. Do we have a second? this would go into effect starting
January first quarter.
first quarter,
So the January billing or usage, so council's done it two different ways.
well, it starts then, but the payable would be on the first quarter.
Okay, has there been,
Is there a second?
Second.
The water sewer increase.
There's no second, the motion does for lack of a second. Is there, any other motions on this issue?
Can I make a motion?
Yeah, since the other, are you declaring, are you seconding this?
I'll make a second if I may.
Okay, so you're seconding the.
I'll second the increase to the sewer bill.
All right, so if there's a second, then
Now we can bring it up for discussion.
you bring it for discussion.
Stacy, just to be really clear,
Okay.
the water authority is the one who sets our water rates, and this is what came from them. They went over things with you, and it was their determination. This is where we should have our water and sewer rates. Is that correct? That is correct. Thank you.
You can make a note in the record. Okay. Mark, thank you. Any questions?
Remember that it is considered preferable for the authority to be setting the rates.
Correct.
Because services offered outside of corporate limits in Borough and Topton, to avoid any question of use of jurisdiction.
If you're all in favor of approving advertising, aye? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Stacy, you're going to advertise?
Yes.
All right, Stacy, will advertise.
And that's all I had.
Okay. Committee reports. Ms. Cook.
Yes, for source water protection plan, we have signs to be installed and, outside of the borough. Stacy, have not got those signs in yet, spill signs?
No.
Okay, they have not been installed yet. With the ground freezing, will they be able to do it? When the ground is frozen, I don't have any idea what they can pound through.
The depth for the freeze line, I believe, is low enough that a sign would be able to be installed. I don't, they would have to work with Log Swamp to locate them.
Right.
It's not just our staff that, yeah.
Oh, no, they have to coordinate, yes, actually, I mentioned that before. Do you think, anticipate them will be able to do this in the next January or something?
We hope.
Is it a priority, I guess is part of the question.
It's always a priority to protect our source water, so yes.
Excellent, thank you. For municipal separate storm sewer system, known as MS4, we're having, I've scheduled a class Wednesday from 10:30 to 11:30 here at the Borough. And right now it's looking like probably close to 30 students and maybe 5 or 6 parents. So if I don't have, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people here. So I'm really delighted about the turnout for this wonderful class so they can understand the importance. And I guess that's all they have.
Okay. Personnel policy, there's nothing to report with regard to wastewater treatment position. Next is Borough Hall access and visitation policy. Stacy has provided a revised draft of the Borough Hall access and visitor policy. I'd like to make a motion, or someone make a motion for approval and discussion. This looks pretty much better, cleaner, than this together, so.
I guess some people who'd be asked to leave would be people says about staying for a short time and for specific reasons. Would that also come under behavior expectations, but it says who misbehaved, and then there's what sort of a definition of green.
Examples, yes.
Yeah. Would you like to also have there, if they're staying longer than a short time, they may be asked to leave?
I think it's at the employee's discretion, they're in the office at that time.
Okay.
And all in favor of approving this visitor policy?
Aye.
Aye. Any not approved?
No.
No.
Two noes. Motion carries. Operation changes at our last meeting. We made a decision to reduce the hours of 2 employees to assist in balancing the budget. Our representative has requested that we reinstate those hours until we finish negotiations. So I would like to make 3 separate motions. Motion number 1, if someone could give me a first motion to rescind the motion to revert the water plant wastewater operator to the previous rate of pay, to remain as a water operator, wastewater operator,
At the current rate of pay.
at the current rate of pay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion, all in favor? Aye. Any nay? Okay. The next motion would be to reinstate the change to the water operator, public works laborer from part-time back to full-time status.
And that presents the prior motion from the November 29th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
And then the next motion, we rescind the motion to change the heavy equipment operator position, public works laborer from full-time to part-time status.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Street committee, that's public. They report? Finance committee, Ms. Haskell.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the list of bills and transfers as presented.
Make that motion, is there a second? We can discuss if there's any questions.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Right, all in favor? Aye.
That's it.
Community relations, Ms. Eisenhower.
Well, as Mr. Miller reported, the Christmas tree lighting event went off well. The 150th anniversary meeting is scheduled for December 11th. I will be in touch as to whether or not we will keep that meeting.
You'll contact Stacy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to talk after this meeting. Kurt? Okay? And that's it.
Okay, property report, Mr. Mark.
Pool parking lot, I did not hear back from Mr. Burkholder, I don't know if you did.
I did not. I'd like to message him.
I'll try to contact him again. And parking restroom, why don't we just leave it as is?
They're still ready.
Right.
They're closed down for these.
So let's put that on hold, we're not gonna just keep it weatherized, okay?
Public Works say weatherized and shut down for the year.
Mr. Hahn, could you comment a little more on the pool parking lot project?
Just
Because
gonna
the public, I don't think, is aware of we were looking at.
try to get an outside contractor, since it's probably more of a bigger task than what our guys can do, since they do a lot of other work. They would not be able to stay at it and get it done. We want to get it demolished and get it finished and move on. And I've been talking with Mr. Stouts and the others. So between me, him, and Stacy, we've been working on different ideas and trying to contact Mr. Burkholder to see if he can give us a call.
Is that something we'd like to get done this year if possible?
I don't think it'll get done this year.
Could I ask for, the next item says Borough Park restrooms, which I understand are winterized. Then it says and public restrooms, would those be inside the building? The public building when,
I think kind of covers all of them, I guess.
Are they available to the public or?
There's still one open
During
spot.
our hours, that's the problem. If that's what needs to be planned out and discussed is what's going to be available to the public during our normal hours. And then the security of the restrooms.
right, all right. So, my understanding had been our public restroom that they can use is in very kind of shaky and it's not ADA compliant and whatnot.
Correct.
Was that something that can be worked on over the winter instead of waiting till the summer?
In our public restrooms here.
Yes. That's what I meant. Okay, thank you.
Okay, utility committee. Did you bring things, Stacy, that you're aware of with that, accounts receivable report? Do you have any issues that you're aware of?
We're performing a couple of meter switch outs, even though it's winter. Payment plans, we currently have a few. If anyone else needs them, please come to the borough. So bills were due on the 29th. Late letters did get mailed, and now the due date is going to be January 7th. Doors will be posted on January 6th. Termination of all unpaid bills is scheduled for January 8th. Please contact us, like I said, if you want a payment plan.
Engineers report, thank you. Is there anything else, Josh, you'd like to add? We started early on this.
Absolutely. No, I'll discuss some of the major updates in here and then open the floor for questions you have. And, quick update on the sidewalk repair and T-Bank. We completed our review of the restoration proposal submitted by their engineer. It's been returned to them for corrections. Ultimately, we need more information on what they're doing to verify that their proposal will ensure public safety. Also working with Soldier London to ensure that they enter into an appropriate restoration agreement with the borough so that the borough is protected appropriately as they proceed. Update on the water filter media permit that was confirmed received by DEP on December 2nd. Please keep in mind that DEP reviews can take up to 120 days. At the end of the day, I am an optimist. This is a relatively simple permit, but what they have on our website is 120 days. So that's what I'm preparing. Washington Street Pumping Station projects. I know this was discussed more extensively in the last meeting. DEP did confirm that they received the construction permit for this project on December 3. They identified one issue which has been resolved as of this afternoon. So they will receive one minor correction from us, and then that will be in review as well. That one we're anticipating 30 to 60 days, which is what the schedule is currently built on. Keep you updated with our changes. We've discussed the water supply well, so I will move to the wastewater treatment plant chlorine compact chamber. My update on this project is I was able to speak with a couple of the bidders, having a conversation with them about why bids were so high. I identified two areas that inflated the bids. The first one was some of the bidders assumed that they would be responsible for bypass pumping. So keeping it flowing, pumping it past while they do the work, which is relatively expensive, roughly $30,000. This would not be required because we have two compact tanks. An operator could fill one tank and fully operate on one while we're able to take the work done. So that would reduce the bids by approximately $30,000, which doesn't get us down into budget range. But we'll take what we can get at this point. And the second one, which I believe is more significant, just based on my experience, is these contractors were proposing to prepare the concrete surfaces for coating via sandblasting. They use a sand media, sand grit, that is then strips away the existing coating. They were of the opinion after the previous meeting that the old deteriorated material that's on there from the last time this was coated is going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to get off with just pressure washing. They would actually need to go on the sandblasting. Sandblasting in and of itself is incredibly difficult, but you do have to do something with the sand you can find. You gotta extract it, you gotta make sure it's disposed of properly. At the end of the day, it tends to get expensive. The added part of that is when you use sandblasting, you tend to damage the existing concrete, so there's additional patching between the color. So we do have a couple options moving forward. I plan on having a discussion with Alex and potentially looking at the state of the existing concrete. It may be a conversation ultimately of does the borough want to increase their budget, which I understand is a challenge, or do we want to stick with pressure washing, having it clean it as good as we can, and understand that the coating that's applied might be low on fast testing. So if we save money on surface preparation, the new coating likely won't last as long because we're not applying it for manufacturing restorations, but it will work for a time. So this is just an update. I'd like to meet with Alex before we make any decisions. That's all I have.
It would be good, because you're looking at it and talking to him about it. Can you give us, when you come back and ask him, you take the less expensive way, it might only last 20 years, 3 years, 5 years. And then if you go the biggest expensive way, then you get an extra how many years out of it. So we have it.
We can reach out to the coating fabricators. They'll give me a number and I will reduce it because coating fabricators are notoriously overly optimistic.
Okay.
I'll move on to an update on the UGI project. We've had a number of issues and complaints with the contractor. I spoke with the contractor a couple times and eventually I decided to go speak with UGI themselves. I had a good conversation with them. I let them know the borough's very concerned with some of the things that have been happening out there. Myself in particular, when there's things like they're messing with the traffic signal, they're endangering public safety. That's just simply unacceptable. So I let UGI know that you know, essentially final warning if we have any other issues out there, especially related to safety. The borough's fully prepared to revoke their permit, and they'll have to go through the permit application process again. So they're fully aware. UGI themselves have been very cooperative with us, and I know they have now had multiple discussions with the contractor. So we're keeping an eye on them. That's their current status. And then finally, year end, I just provide a quick update on the grants that we have applied for on behalf of the borough. For this year, it was a DCED, small water and sewer. Our grants team put together an application and submitted that to DCED at no cost to the borough. We are requesting $377,875 for the replacement of the Keller Street water main. We are crossing our fingers. We'll get back to that soon. Typically, we would have heard back on that by now. Everything's delayed due to the Pennsylvania budget delay. But we are starting to see some of those delayed grants slowly trickle through the process. So hoping to hear back on that early next year.
Thank you, Josh.
Of course.
Old business? Town hero update?
We did hear back from the legal establishment and getting the paper to make sure his project is gonna be accepted, and then, come springtime, they'll move forward.
Borough Preservation Board? The update?
Did you hear the lawyer, Stacy?
No, it seems like we will be meeting with Larry's nephew, and we're trying to plan that for some time in the future.
Thank you. So, there will be one report.
Eastern Brooks Joint Comprehensive Plan.
They're meeting tomorrow to go over the final changes. And then according to the next steps of the MCC, they're going to move it to the municipalities that are adjacent to them. So it's rapid.
Okay, there any other old business? I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I think Frank and Carol made a motion that we can stop